Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The CDC releasing new projections showing that high vaccination rates, continued masking, and social distancing could bring a sharp decline in COVID cases by July. Still, threats remain like variants and questions about how long vaccines will provide protection.
Always questions, always. Of course, there's always questions. It's not masking. I think we know that, right? 6 feet. No, this is what it is. A lot of people have got it. A lot of people have gotten the vaccine. We didn't hang out with each other after a while. It's kind of what it is. But the mask is a charade. It's a charade, my friends. The mask is a charade. We wear this mask for what? Like today, my buddy comes in. I did a hit on his show on the local station that I work out of here. So he comes in. I'm like, dude, why are you wearing the mask? And he goes, I don't know. I don't know. I said, why? I mean, first of all, it's 5 a.m. so there's nobody here. You're walking 50 yards to come over to this side of the building to get to this studio. Past nobody. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I said, it's stupid at this point. We're at the lowest rate we've been in a very, very, very long time. It's time now to get living our life. It's time now to say, all right, you know what? We did all we could. Maybe didn't do it the way that we should have. We fought at times. It's 7-month low right now. 7-month low. Death, serious illness. You won't hear that, though. We'll tell you about it. Some of the right-wing people out there will tell you about it. But the reality is, this is where we're at. Most of the people that are getting sick right now are kids. They're not getting very sick either because they're kids. It doesn't affect them the same way that, say, it affects adults, or the flu can potentially affect kids in a much worse way. We're there. That guy from Johns Hopkins, and everybody goes, oh, that guy's an idiot. You know what he's talking about. He said by April, May, we're going to be pretty much in a position where we're nearing herd immunity. We're getting close. We're getting extremely, extremely close. It's time to open up, to get back out there. Absolutely. When we do that, what happens? Jobs.
The pace of layoffs has slowed considerably since the onset of the pandemic, and the number of weekly jobless claims has dropped below 500,000 for the first time since the virus took root in the United States. More than 40% of American adults are now fully vaccinated, and so they feel more comfortable eating out and traveling. The once struggling service industries are starting to stabilize.
Yeah. So that's good. Those are the things. And when you have jobs, what do you have? You have people smiling. Why? Because they're not worried about who's going to pay what. Because they know they got money coming in. In fact, we're at the point where we can't give jobs away. They're talking about another stimulus already when I'm saying, whoa, bro. I say it, Jude's just like, whoa, bro. Enough. Let's not extend anything. That's why when these stimuluses come about, I keep saying, you do it for 30 days. You do it for 60 days. Do it for 90 days. You don't do it out for X amount of months. Because what? Because we can always, you're not going to take it away. Let me tell you what government doesn't do. It's not going to go back and take it away. That's not popular. We have overspent, underdelivered. People, it's time to tell people, you got to get a job now. I know you like hanging out at the house, right? I know you like doing your thing. And here's the other thing. There are a lot of people out there who are enjoying their whatever they're getting from their state. Here, it's not a lot. It's like $300 a week. But you get an extra $300 to $400 from the feds. All of a sudden, you're making $700 a week. And then, by the way, I got a little side gig here and there. I'm doing okay. Why would I want to rush back? It's time to start making people go out and say, look, it's time to get back in the game. Sorry, just is. And it feels good going out. Last night, had a long day here. I got here. Yeah. Normally, I go hit golf balls. I do a lot of stuff. You guys know my little routine. Very routine-oriented. Yesterday, I didn't leave the building till almost 7 o'clock. And then I went hitting golf balls because I stayed at a hotel. By my hotel there, I've got this place. For the last year, one person in the building, mask, cash only. They get the balls for you, and then you go out. Last night, I walk up, nobody has any mask on. The building's wide open like it's normally been, and it was awesome. It was. I was like, oh, this feels refreshing. It's time, and it's a psychological thing, because you know it. How many times have you gone somewhere and you're like, I don't want to wear a mask? And they're not telling me I have to, but I feel weird. People start looking at me. And then you think, and it's like, you're fine not wearing a mask. It's the other people that you think may not be fine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the other people. I get it. I'll walk down a hallway, and we've got we've got like this engineering firm next to us. Very nice people. Very nice. And the engineers, they do everything, you know, because they look at me and they think, who's this weirdo, right? I'm walking around. I got shorts and a T-shirt on, and I'm singing a song. By the way, we're going to talk about earworms later. My earworm this week has been Anne Murray. That's all I have to say. So, which is weird, I know, but just bear with me. And it is so weird because they're always wearing a mask, and they give me this weird look because I'm not wearing a mask in a hallway by myself. Who am I going to hurt? Nut jobs. Nice people. They follow the rules. I get it. I follow the rules. But at some point in time, you got to go, man, these rules are kind of stupid. All right. Who are we doing this for? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Yesterday, they told Trump, no, when it comes to Facebook. Right? No. Which is I don't think Trump cares about Facebook. He cared about Twitter. We know that. But there are issues here. Once again, it's the free speech issue. Once again, it's an issue of speech. Speech that hurts your feelings, speech that you don't like is the speech we need to protect. Because you're also going to have speech that are going to offend the other people. And what used to be the bastion, which was free speech on college campuses, has now become this world of snowflakes and whiny people who don't want to hear any kind of, any kind of dissent against their arguments, any kind of pushback against their arguments. That just, these people are evil and bad. You know what? You let evil and bad, if that's the way you feel, talk. You let evil and bad, if that's the way you feel, have their voice too. And now the question's going to be, because you hear all the time about social media.
The major platforms have a responsibility related to the health and safety of all Americans to stop amplifying untrustworthy content, disinformation and misinformation, especially related to COVID-19, vaccinations, and elections.
No, they don't, Jen Psaki. They do not. They don't have an obligation to protect people from being stupid. That's like saying that, well, beer companies, they have an obligation to alcoholics. No, they don't. They make a product. They give you the product. I don't hear you say, well, they've got an obligation to protect the people that use their stuff, not to sell it or to lose it or to have it stolen. You don't ever hear that? Well, once in a while I do, and people are like, oh, I guess we should say something. Facebook's really pissed people off because, they sell all their stuff. No, they don't have an obligation. They don't. Well, they do. No, they don't. If you don't want to do something based on a meme, that's a you thing. If you're not willing to do the work to go, hey, you know what? I think this is true. I read this thing, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do an extra step. This isn't this isn't the 1980s. I know it's crazy. 1980. No, this isn't. You don't have to go, hey, I read this article today, but I'm not quite sure if it gave me everything I need. So let me explain to you what used to happen. I heard something today. Then I read an article, but I'm not quite sure about it. I'm going to do the research. You get in your car. You drive down to a place called a library. For those of you guys who don't know, it's a place where they store books and other things, where you can go and there's a Dewey Decimal System, and you can ask usually the nice librarian lady or man, but mostly lady, hey, I need to find out some information about this. Do you have any books about this or any articles about this? Why, yes, we do, young man. Do you have a library card with us? I do, ma'am. Library cards, you just rent, like videos back in the day. Same thing. So then you go over, and then you start looking through that, and then you do the research. All the while, it's hours later sometimes before you have a chance to do this. We don't live in that time. We live in a time where it's like, I don't know if this is true. Let me go over here and open a new tab in Google, search a few of these things, and do the research because they will bring up 5,000 articles for me. But you could go down a rabbit hole. You could. It's possible. By the way, going down a rabbit hole in the 80s and early 90s, you had to go find the rabbit hole. You had to get an actual shovel. You had to do the work. They do not have an obligation. Twitter doesn't have an obligation. If you're stupid enough to be swayed by something where you just read a headline or a meme or a tweet and you don't challenge yourself, that's a you problem. They have no responsibility to protect you. Dumbest thing in the world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Getting back to normal. Jobs are out there. Although I would say, at the beginning of this, if I was, say, in a position where I was making more money not working, I could totally, as a business side, why would I want to go back to work? Eventually you get bored, right? But everybody was kind of in the same boat. But we're past that point now. Get your butt out there, right? Have a little dignity. I might make less. That's fine, but you have a little dignity. Just a smidge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. MyPillow's got everything. They got their towel set, which is amazing right now. It's $44.98. I mean, it's normally $110. You get these amazing towels. They've got their My Slippers, which are awesome, 40% off. They got the moccasin style, slip-on style. They've got everything. You go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson, and see the amazing deals and grab a hold of them, right? First of all, like with the My Slippers, you get 60-day money-back guarantee. They got the faux fur on the inside. They've got the suede. They got, and you can wear them indoors, outdoors. They got 3 different levels as far as the sole. The patented fill from the MyPillow, right? They've got the memory foam, and now they've got this soft gel stuff that's amazing that makes them just completely comfortable to wear whenever and wherever you want. And the towels are awesome. Super absorbent, not lotiony, different colors, and a great deal. And you're saving huge. 60-day money-back guarantee. Check out all of these great deals and more. Go to MyPillow.com. Use that promo code Benson to save big. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Peloton previously resisting pressure from the Consumer Product Safety Commission to issue a recall last month after dozens of complaints of injuries and the death of a 6-year-old. In a statement, the CEO now saying the decision to recall both products was the right thing to do. Peloton made a mistake in our initial response, adding, "For that, I apologize."
Yeah, CEO is apologizing. Do you remember when Peloton's biggest issue was people were mad because the commercial, that guy got his wife a Peloton and she was super fit, and they're like, oh, it's sexist and that's evil and that's bad. And maybe she asked for a Peloton. You don't know. And it's also a commercial. Yeah, but they had the death of a 6-year-old. Kids do silly things. They do. And sometimes they do stuff that they think is cool. Those Pelotons, though, it's like anything else. Like anything, if used wrong, could cause an injury or potentially death. Case in point, a ladder. If you knew how many, and baths, for those of you not keeping score, if you go look and see what unintentional falls look like and the amount of death and injury it causes in this country, it's huge. But yeah, those Pelotons, man, you better watch out. You better watch out in some of those things. I had a really nice like really nice. Not a Peloton, but it was it cost me like $600-700, and it was a good. I guess it's a walker, but then then you can really. It had the hiking feature. It was very interesting and had the TV and there's a good treadmill. But the kids would jump on it and they would try to run as fast as they can. And I'm like, you guys got to, don't be dumbasses. Don't. It's crazy. But I see it. I've gone to the gym and I see what some people try to do on those things just at the gym. Sometimes you're like, I don't think you should be on that. That's going to end poorly for you. That is. And you will see people wipe out. I've seen some people. The thing that's funny is they always think they're faster than they really are. See, like, I know my limitations. I was never fast when I played soccer. I had great stamina. And so I started out at the same speed, but by the end of the game, I was the same speed. Other people started out much faster. By the end of the game, though, they were slower, and I had passed them. It's kind of the way it was. And I was quick over like 5 or 6 yards. It's the same thing. Some people will get on these things, and they think they're way faster than It's not very nice, Chad. Do you not laugh? Oh, gosh. I just, I do. I don't go to the gym anymore because our gym has changed. Like, they were open, they were closed, they were open, they were closed, they were open, they were closed. And yeah, I'm not going in. I'm not going to go inside and work out wearing a mask either. I'm going to give a hard pass on that. And it's not like those cool masks that you get where you go inside, like you can put them on and it essentially, it mimics being at altitude. It's like, I don't want to wear a surgical mask while I jog. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Anthony sent me something interesting about people not showering, especially over this, and how some people find it really freeing. And there may be something to it, oddly enough. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
SpaceX celebrating its own first. The company landing its Starship spacecraft prototype without incident for the first time.
We are down. The Starship has landed.
A stark contrast to its test landing back in March when 8 minutes after touching down, the craft exploded after a fire broke out near the base. Elon Musk hopes to use the rocket ship to one day land astronauts on the moon and send people to Mars.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch. If you've not seen the video, it's kind of cool. But I was telling the guys, it looked like they just ran it in reverse, like it took off, and then they just rolled the film backwards. But you would think, right? Like we'd have learned how to do this a while ago. You would think. We're getting closer. We are so getting closer. I know they're already selling stuff like tickets. Get your tickets here. Get your tickets here. Flying to space. Who wants to go to space? Get your tickets here. Who's ready for that? I'm going to give that a year or two just to see what that looks like. Don't want to be the first group. Right? Don't want to be on Titanic, the spaceship. Just want to see how that thing goes. And then I'm all for it. And then I'm all for it. Then I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's roll. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's have fun. Let's get at it. Let's go to space. Let's do space stuff. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Oh, Liz Cheney, what are you doing? It's very interesting, right? So if you guys haven't been following, the GOP has some issues. Both parties have issues, right? They're trying to figure out who are we? And it's like one of those things where Have you ever watched a sporting event where, or a movie or anything like this, where like the both like two guys are competing for a woman's attention, and they do everything wrong possible, and all they have to do is not screw up. Watching a sports event where, okay, there's like 4 minutes left, you're up by 15 points. Don't do anything stupid. It's like, just don't do anything stupid. Hand the ball off. That's all you have to do. And yet, they'll continue to fumble the ball. And both sides do it. They continue to screw up. Both sides continue to do the wrong things, say the wrong things. And right now, you've got a battle. You've got a battle with Liz Cheney, who is not backing down. You may not like Liz Cheney. She's evil, she's bad, she's blah, blah. Let me tell you something about Liz Cheney. She's got the cojones to stand up there and say, you know what? I think this is all BS. I think it's all crap. I think so much of this stuff you guys have bought into is nuts, and you guys are going to the extremes to court a bunch of people that, by the way, they're going to vote for you anyways. You do realize that, right? You guys understand that. They're voting for you anyways. Because the choice is the other side, which is doing the exact same thing, courting in the extremes and fumbling the ball. And that's where we are. So they're going to try to oust her, and she wrote an op-ed piece.
Republican Liz Cheney writing in the Washington Post that her party must decide if it will choose truth and fidelity to the Constitution over supporting former President Trump's false claims of election fraud. Congresswoman Cheney also going after House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy for what she says is his flip-flopping on the insurrection. McCarthy at first said Mr. Trump bears responsibility for the mob violence, but now Liz Cheney says McCarthy has changed his story.
Of course he has, because like everybody else, which way's the wind blow? You know what I like in people? Independent thought. Right? And you may agree with a group of people, but independent enough that if you don't agree, you're willing to stand up there and say, you know what, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this. I don't find this to be something that I feel comfortable with. Do I think that Trump bears responsibility to what took place on that day? I think the people that do it, right, who did it, who went there. I think there were other people on that stage who rabble-roused. But the reality is nobody could have gone on that stage, and that you just told people to show up because people were already gearing up for it. But they were buying into something that wasn't true. Right now, we've got the recount going on here in Arizona. And I will tell you this, guys, right now, it's an absolute joke. It is a joke. You got the cyber ninjas. So they've got no election audit experience whatsoever. And their whole thought process is, we're going to be brought in to do something different, which is fine. Right? Like, I got zero problem with that. Right? Does anybody have problems with saying, hey, you know what? We think that there was some stuff that was untoward here, and we're going to find it out, and we've got some other methods that we're going to look at. Okay. Right? I mean, you didn't believe the other people, so, but we're going to believe you now. Fine. But when you listen to them, you think to yourself, who in God's name are you? This is my favorite.
We're talking about bamboo. What was that about?
Well, is that there's accusations that 40,000 ballots were flown in.
To Arizona?
Into Arizona, and it was stuffed into the box, okay? And it came from the southeast part of the world, Asia, okay? And what they're doing is to find out if there's bamboo in the paper.
According to some guy, which always makes me laugh. So where did you guys find this out? Some guy told us this. That's right there. Like, wait, what do you mean some guy? Some guy. That is John Brakey. He's like supposedly an election and ballot specialist. He went on to say, I don't believe that. But there are a lot of people that do. 70% of Republicans think that the election was stolen. Really? I've talked to a lot of Republicans that voted for Trump. And they're like, yeah, I think there was some stuff that I wasn't happy with, but do I think it was stolen? No. I think there was some stuff that we could ask questions about, and I'm totally about that. I think there were several states that did things that they shouldn't have done. They went against their Constitution. We have every right to ask them questions, and some of them have already been scolded by judges. They've been scolded and said, hey, look, you don't have the right to do this, but it didn't really have a bearing on anything, but this is something going forward you can't do. But then you go back 4 years. What happened 4 years ago? People believed that the Russians essentially stole the election. There was a good amount of Democrats who fully believed that Russia did not even just disinformation, but hacked in and changed the votes. And for 4 years, they tried to undo something, and that's what we have going on right now, and it's frustrating. And when people stand up from one side, and then what happens? They say, look, I'm over it. I don't think it was. I think he lost. I don't think Biden won. And we've got to live in the now. But now you get somebody like Liz Cheney who supported the essential impeachment of Donald Trump, and now they want to get rid of her. And I'm telling you guys, and Meghan McCain says it pretty spot on here, level-headedness. Republicans, you saw yourself kind of get your butts handed to you with suburban women. What do you think this does?
Women like me and Liz Cheney, who refuse to bend the knee to President Trump, but still remain loyal Republicans, we don't have a place in this party. We are worthless. We are not worth fighting for to keep. And I think it is Kafkaesque to try and spin this in a way that this is about anything else but her not supporting President Trump. And the leadership in the party is doubling down that Trump is the future. Now, what happened when we doubled down that Trump is the future? We lost 4 Senate seats in the last election in red states.
Oh, that's because of cheating. No, it's not because of cheating. They lost 4 seats. They picked up some in the House. By the way, locally, politically, they picked up some. But both parties need to find out, what are you about? Are you about the extremes? Or are you about doing the right thing? Are you about appeasing a loud group of people who really don't base a lot of what they think in reality? And unfortunately, people feel they have to. And it's nuts. And you're going to lose a ton of support. And I think both parties, right now, if there was ever the opportunity for a third party to come in and to take several seats, some Senate seats, some congressional seats, and make it uncomfortable for both parties, this is what it's about. It's ripe for the pickings.
In my home state of Arizona, we lost a giant election spectacularly. Midterms are coming up, and President Biden is expanding the government in a way that is the largest since LBJ. That's what we should be focusing on. But instead, we are going to bloodlet the party from women like me, college-educated women that lost you the election in the first place. It's the most asinine politics I have seen in a really, really long time, in a cacophony of asinine politics.
Ooh, she throws that word out there. And I really don't always agree with Meghan McCain. I don't. We didn't have a nice few chats last time. But still, I think she's right. She's absolutely right. She is right. And both parties need to figure out what you're about. Are you about the extremes? Or are you about moving forward, solving the problems that need to be solved while getting out of the way of the American people? Are you about protecting the Constitution, protecting the nation, protecting the values of which we stand? Or are you about the crap that we see? Both parties need to figure it out. Are you about conspiracies? Are you about lunacy? Or are you about the actual truth? Even if it goes against some of your ideas as far as what you think the truth is, and you find out, well, that's not it? Or are you just so sold for the red or blue that you're willing to allow the extremes to run everything out of fear? I don't want that. It's one reason I don't pick a party. I don't trust any of them. I look at the Democrats, and I don't know what they've become. And now they're they've allowed so many people to want to just. And I look over here at the Republicans and I think, love a lot of the ideals and the beliefs, but I don't believe in the party because both of them have their own thing going on, which is about power and holding on to it. It's not about truth. It's not about moving forward. It's not about working together. It's not about solving problems. It's about hanging on to power. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're going to talk about should you or should you not shower as much as you do. It's very interesting. It is very, very interesting. Plus, I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on in the NHL, but let's just say this. Last night was a hockey game, and in said hockey game, the 80s broke out. And if you don't know anything about 80s hockey, know there were a lot of men with no teeth, and some guys didn't even need a stick to play in the game because all they needed was their fist, and it was wild. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. All right, Raycons. Had my Raycons on last night. Out there hitting my golf balls. Worked out a little bit this morning. Guess what I had? My Raycons. Oh, yeah, because they're amazing. They really, really are. And it's the price. The price is incredible. The noise isolating fit, second to none. I love my nice noise isolating fit because so I put them on, right? So I get these things on. You can barely see them. They're comfortable in my ears, and it's just awesome to go out there. I don't have any stems or wires. The fit, though, is so comfortable. Sometimes I won't even have music on or anything. It's just nice to have some peace and quiet. It's awesome. The sound quality, the design, no stems, no wires, the price, well under $100. They got several different things to choose from. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth. When you sync it up, I'm telling you guys, you will find nothing better. Summer's here. You want to work out. You want to do something. Raycons. Get rid of the stems. Get rid of the wires. Get the best earbuds around. BuyRaycon.com/Chad saves you an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Are you trying to kill me? What happens if you have corona?
No need to socially distance while listening to your Chad Benson Show podcast. 4 out of 5 experts say so.
I'm a scientist. There is no corona.
But hurry before they change their mind. You know they will. Chad's podcast found on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite COVID-free podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
You know, the beauty of hockey is, it's a sport that kind of polices itself, right? You know, the NFL, they've always gone out of their way to, they let the refs handle things, and very rarely do things get out of control. Baseball, there's the unwritten rules, but a baseball fight's the most useless thing in the world. Outside of Nolan Ryan beating the ass of Robin Ventura, they're pretty, it's 20 guys running out from the bullpen and out there, and people, it's just hockey, though. Right? You go back and you look. Gordie Howe. It used to be Gordie Howe cat trick. You had a goal, you had an assist, and you had a fight. It's a Gordie Howe hat trick. Wayne Gretzky. There were guys on the great Oiler teams as well as the Los Angeles Kings. And their goal was skate around, and if anybody gets near that guy, you light them up. Right? He's the president, you are the Secret Service. Period. Case closed. Somebody touches him, you touch them. Over the last several years, the NHL wanted to get away from that. They didn't want that kind of look of, the fights and stuff. But every once in a great while, you have an idiot. And Tom Wilson's the idiot. This guy is, oddly enough, people say he's got great skills and he's got all these things. But the reality is he's a scumbag. And the other day, he crushed one of the best players and absolutely thumped him, cheap shotted a few of them. The NHL came back and gave him no fine. This was not his first one, and that was the Capitals and the Rangers. Well, guess what? They met last night, and let's see how it started.
And now we got another fight. Raffle and Potato are going to go here right off the hop. Before the puck had even gotten out of the dot, Raffle landing a hit. Potato's in some trouble. Now he's lost his helmet, and the linesmen are coming in to break it up. Our 9th and 10th fighting major here, 4 minutes and 14 seconds into the game.
It felt good. It's great to watch. It was. And you know what that does? Sounds weird, a little societal. Keeps people honest. It does. Keeps people honest. This guy cheap-shotted. The NHL had a chance to send a message. They fined him $5,000. They played the next night. You know what happened? All right, we'll take it into our own hands. There was a picture where I think there was 8 or 9 Washington Capitals inside of the penalty box. They're like sitting on each other's laps. It was old school. And when it leads outside of the no-hitter, Sports Center and some of the other things, something neat must have happened here. It was interesting, that's for sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from you. He shoots, he scores. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Jobless claims dropped again last week to a new pandemic low of 498,000. Weekly filings for benefits peaked at more than 6 million last spring, leveled off at about 700,000, and now fell below that level for 4 straight weeks. Employers are hanging on to workers as the economy rebounds now that more than 40% of American adults are vaccinated. On Friday, economists expect to see the Labor Department report an increase of about 1 million jobs last month.
What? Why is that? Because we're getting back out there. We're working again. People are starting to do their thing. Restaurants are they're getting busy. People are booking trips. The housing market's booming. Things are happening. It's good. We need it. That's for sure. I think we can all agree we need to get back out there. This thing's endemic, not pandemic. Now we have to figure out how we live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. That's a smart thing to do, right? Can we all agree? With this thing, through this thing, around this thing, above this thing. That's what I've been saying over and over. John Hopkins, that guy, was it Dr. Makary, came out and said in March, he said, or February, he said, look, by April, May, this thing we'll have this thing near herd immunity. And we're kind of at that point where we're near there. And we haven't even talked about getting the kids vaccinated, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later, a little bit more in depth. I'm for vaccines. 0 to 9, according to a new study out of Israel. Virtually no spread at all. Don't have any real issues. 10 to 16, there is some as far as spread goes. But once again, the chances of a child getting this and dying without having many underlying conditions is very, very minimal comparatively to even the flu. But we're moving in a direction that's great. Lowest numbers we've seen in 7 months. It's time to say, all right, on to the next phase. Get back to life.
The CDC releasing new projections showing that high vaccination rates, continued masking, and social distancing could bring a sharp decline in COVID cases by July. Still, threats remain like variants and questions about how long vaccines will provide protection.
Moderna came out yesterday, said their booster works against the variants. Now the race is going to be who can come up with the shot. You get it once every 5 or 10 years and you get on with your life. Who's going to come up with that? Who's coming up with the shot? You get the shot, you don't have to worry about it for 5 or 10 years. That's what the race is going to be. That's it. That's what the next race is going to be when it comes to COVID. getting a therapeutic, which I think we've got some, right? Remdesivir, few other things they're working on. I think Pfizer said by the end of the year they'll have a pill that you can take that will help fight it if you get it, and kind of like a Theraflu, right? Think of something like that. So we're moving in that direction, and then it's time to go from there. But it's time to get back to living, working, doing those kind of things. And that is exactly what I think most people are ready to do. Most people are over it. Most people I know. And everybody's like, well, you should probably hang out with nothing but crazy conservatives or loony liberals. No, I have friends of all kinds of backgrounds and pasts. Some are very liberal and progressive, and I love them dearly. And others are very conservative, and I love them dearly. They're all over it. And it's the mask thing. At the end of the day, we know we're all done with the mask. And that's the funny thing is we all walk in and we're in place and we're all wearing a mask. And we all know that it's a charade. It's not real. It's theater. It's kabuki theater at this point. Producer Phil, what mask are you wearing today?
I have my train mask today.
You have a train mask?
I do.
Okay. Well, it sounds very, very medical-esque. For those of you guys who don't know, Producer Phil is really into trains. He's into stuff like trains and travel and whatnot. But I doubt it's very. I have a blue mask. I don't even know what it is. It's just a blue mask, and it feels like somebody took. It's very stretchy. And I found it in my golf bag yesterday. I had a lot of stuff. You know what else I found in my golf bag? Peanuts. I have no idea where they came from. No idea. Do not remember buying peanuts. They're in my bag. But I've got these. I've got this little stretchy mask, and it feels like it's a little polyester. It's just it's not protecting anything, but it makes people feel good. Enough with it. It's time to move on, right? It's time to get figuring out how we get to the point where people are going to start to feel comfortable getting back out there living their life, because there's still going to be a lot of people out there that aren't quite ready to let this thing go. It's time that we start to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing every single one of you. Biden yesterday talking about, what's going on with Cheney. So because you haven't heard, they're going to try to get rid of Liz Cheney. They're going to pull her off for all of her assignments. She's the third most powerful Republican in the House, and McCarthy and everybody wants to, they're done with her because they feel that she's, part of the insurrection as far as against Trump.
It seems as though the Republican Party is trying to identify what it stands for. I've been a Democrat for a long time. We've gone through periods where we've had internal fights and disagreements. I don't ever remember any like this. We badly need a Republican Party. We need a two-party system. It's not healthy to have a one-party system. I think the Republicans are further away from trying to figure out who they are and what they stand for than I thought they would be at this point.
You know what? And President Biden's right there. But you got to also look in the mirror, because what are you about? Not so much you, Joe. I think Joe is that, that working class Democrat fighting for the little guy, but understands he needs the big guy as well in capitalism, but I look over and I see, the Democrats and the Republicans, both of them are, I don't recognize them anymore. The people that are in the power positions who have the absolute loudest voice, are usually the ones who do the very least. Right? Case in point. If you guys saw this, it came out last month, but nobody talked about it. The least effective lawmakers. AOC is way up there, by the way, just to let you guys know. She ranks 230 out of 240 Democrats. Pelosi is one of the least effective. Well, why is that? Because they're not effective. Rashid Tlaib. A lot of them. What are they? They're the face, they're the voice. But when you really want to know what politics is about, you look around the country, even in your home state, find that congressperson that nobody talks about, Find that senator that nobody really pays too much attention to. You'll start to see, well, these are the people that are actually doing stuff. You know, in the blue wave that came, not in this last election, the election before that. You remember that blue wave? First it was a trickle, then it ended up being a little bit more of a wave. Who won? It wasn't the AOCs. It was a group of Democrats who were almost Reagan-esque moderate Democrats. Who won a majority of these red seats in this past one, which a lot of people thought they were going to get their butts handed to them? Was it Marjorie Taylor Greene gets a lot of the press, but it was a bunch of the essential moderate Republicans who are conservative rather than Republicans and can work across the aisle and actually say, I want to get stuff done. I have friends who work in politics. You're in this business long enough, in this business a very long time. One guy I talked to a fair bit out here in Arizona. He's a Republican congressman. You couldn't pick him out of a lineup. You couldn't. He's come into the station on numerous occasions. People have no idea who he is. And somebody's like, I thought that was like the copier repairman. But they get stuff done. So many of them like the fame. They like the power. They don't like the job. They don't. That's the thing. It's all of the nasty stuff and getting dirty and doing the work. People want they don't want the hours of sitting in a room at night talking to, fellow Republicans and, arguing over this and can we do this? Can we do that? Can we, and doing the actual stuff where you go out and you no. So politics has become a celebrity launching ground. And that's sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Here's the thing I love. The shop is the shop that you choose. And why that's important is because if you're with another company, they're going to tell you, hey, you're going to have to take it here to the people that we work with. Oh, okay. What are those people worried about? Well, they're not getting paid a ton, right, from their warranty work or their covered repair work. They're not. Their whole thing is get you back out on the road as fast as possible, as cheap as possible. Car Shield says, no, take it to the dealership if you want. We know it won't be the cheapest. Take it to your family mechanic. We know it won't be the cheapest, but it'll be done right, and you can feel comfortable about that. 24/7 roadside assistance is great. And that rental car, what if your car's in there for 4 or 5 days? You're going to take, all these ride-sharing things? You don't do that. That's what's great about that. Car Shield's helped over 1 million drivers, and they're ready to help you. Plans start as low as $99 a month for things like your GPS and the electronics in your car, all the way up to more expensive plans that deal with everything that has to do with your car, from your air conditioning to your windows to your engine and transmission. Find out what works best for you. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson. That right there is going to save you 10% across the board. It's simple and easy. Carshield.com, code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler?
Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is?
What?
D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let us take a peek. Find out what's trending. Let's do it. Yesterday, Cinco de Mayo. Trended. Big time. We'll get to some of the questions that were asked yesterday on Google about Cinco de Mayo, including things like, what's Cinco de Mayo in Spanish? Peloton, they have recalled their treadmills, and they halt the sales of their treadmills because of some injuries. New York Rangers, Washington Capitals are trending because they had a squabble last night. It was pretty awesome. If you've not seen it, if you don't follow hockey, it was basically the 80s all over again. The minute the puck dropped, they all dropped their gloves and started brawling. John Means pitched a no-hitter yesterday for the Orioles, and it should have been a perfect game. Why wasn't it? He struck a guy out, ball got by the catcher, guy made it to first. Essentially, it was a pass ball, so it couldn't be a perfect game, which I always find weird. Like, why is that my fault that those guys screwed up? That's kind of right. Why is that? I don't know. Head on over to Twitter. People are arguing. People are raising questions about what's going on here in Arizona because the cyber ninjas are doing an audit, and now the Department of Justice is getting involved with said audit. Feel a little uncomfortable at some of the stuff going on, having to remind the cyber ninjas and the Republican Party locally here, those ballots are federal property. So if you guys don't know what the cyber ninjas are, just know this. They're spectacular. They are a group of people that have a business out in Florida, dealing a lot with computer privacy and stuff of that nature. The guy, he believed that the entire election was essentially stolen, and he deleted those tweets, but he's leading the charge to prove that this is, in fact, a stolen election. Utah parents advocates weigh in on critical race theory education. Big debate. Should there be critical race theory? I think no. I don't. Doesn't mean we don't talk about race. I just think the way that a lot of these things are structured, it's just, I look at this and I think to myself, yeah, I'm going to give a hard pass. I am. I'm going to give a hard pass. Head on over to Twitter, where the arguments always begin, because that's what it's all about, right? It is. Facebook apparently tomorrow is going to announce whether or not Trump will be allowed back on said platform. And I'm wondering at the same time if they're going to announce when he'll be suspended again. I don't think that's very nice. Just don't. Oh, my goodness me. Jason Bourne is trending, and the reason is because Ted Cruz has criticized a CIA recruitment video promoting diversity within the agency. He says, we've come a long way from Jason Bourne. He wasn't real, and settle down. The same people that are criticizing him are also saying, I definitely think we should do something about, Snow White and, the Seven Dwarfs. First of all, it should be Snow White and the Seven Little People. We should change their names. And secondly, he kissed her without consent. So everybody just needs to settle down, mate. Settle down. And a rail overpass collapses in Mexico City. At least 23 have been killed. How many injuries are unknown? These numbers are, right now they have it at 65. I have a feeling it's going to go up a lot more, and it's an ugly situation. Ugly situation. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. This teacher loses it on a police officer. When you hear this, you just shake your head and go, are you blanking kidding me? And Rick Santorum wants to kind of apologize, but kind of maybe not, but then kind of, we'll figure it out. He's in trouble. Aren't we all? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Tuesday, an anonymous observer sending ABC 15 a copy of a non-disclosure agreement they say they were told to sign that prevents them from saying anything about their experience or what they saw.
Cyber ninjas. Cyber ninjas. Cyber ninjas. What's going on? We live in a world of, well, no real truth. That's the sad part of what I feel like is going on now. It is easier to fool people because not that people are dumber. No, it's because people don't care. They believe what they believe. The audit is a perfect example of what's happening. The audit is the perfect example of what's taking place right now when it comes to Trump world, how people see what took place last November. And here in Arizona, there's an audit going on. An audit where you've got people who've never done this before or doing it. Okay, I'm not going to bat. Cyber ninjas is a silly name. I'm just going to be out there and say that. But I'm not bashing whether or not they're capable of doing something. But you have hired people that believe Trump had the election stolen. So you've got 2.1 million ballots that you're going to count. You are about 200,000 through. You have said that you were going to do certain things, then you didn't do certain things. People that, you said, okay, we're going to allow observers to come in, and then you didn't allow them to come in. The ones that you did allow to come in, some of them have left. We live in a world where people, quite frankly, it's about affirmation. And here's what's going to change with any of this stuff. And it doesn't matter. It could be the audit here of these ballots in Maricopa County. It could be, the vaccine. It could be any of these things. If you now have a belief in something, that belief is who you are. You have affirmed that belief over and over again, and you're not going to change your mind unless something radical happens to you. Right? You get coronavirus, and you don't think it's real. You get deathly ill. Maybe you almost die. Your wife dies. Your husband dies. Your mother dies. Whatever it is. Then you're like, well, this is a little bit different, right? You believe that the election was stolen and that the Democrats are bad and evil and they stole this thing. And then you go in there and you're a part of something and you start to think, well, I don't think this is really above board. Everything seems to be right. And maybe they're starting to play the games. But outside of that, unless it actually happens to you, the information now that we see, we don't buy into. And we're not willing to search. We're not willing to take a run at, is this real or not? And that's sad. This is John Brakey. He's supposedly an election ballot specialist. Listen to what he said about this whole ballot thing here in Maricopa County.
We're talking about bamboo. What was that about?
Well, is that there's accusations that 40,000 ballots were flown in.
To Arizona?
Into Arizona, and it was stuffed into the box, okay? And it came from the southeast part of the world, Asia, okay? And what they're doing is to find out if there's bamboo in the paper.
Now, he said he doesn't believe that to be true, but a lot of people do. I've got friends, I've got family who believe all of these things to be true. I don't say we investigate, but the funny thing is, people are willing to investigate something they want to be true and continue to push that out there. But if the other side said something, they're not willing to investigate any of that. And that's just the frustrating thing that I find more and more. It's one of the reasons I get frustrated with social media. By the way, you're never going to change anybody's mind on social media. It's not going to happen. You're going to argue, you're going to fight. But as far as changing minds, changing hearts, changing any of those, it's just not going to happen. It isn't. And it ends up being frustrating. So we've got this thing going on here. The Department of Justice is getting involved because they're like, hey, do you guys recognize those are our property? You guys are doing an audit and they're our property. What you do with them, you will be held liable if something goes wrong. For me, my worry is pretty simple. Who are the people handling the ballots? And what about the information? I think it's a fair question.
A high-ranking U.S. Justice Department official writing to the Arizona Senate president asking how that state is guaranteeing that an outside audit firm has protected and preserved original ballots as it conducts yet another post-presidential election recount. The justice official asking about reports that Arizona no longer has control of the ballots and that contractors are knocking on doors to confirm if valid voters live there, possibly intimidating minorities from voting in future elections.
Which, okay, I mean, that's a fair question right there. Can we ask that? Yeah, of course we should be able to ask that. Damn Skippy, we should. Who are these people? What are you doing? It's one thing to go up and say, look, we're just making sure. It's randomly we're doing these things. It's just a very frustrating world we live in, that we can't sit there and say, you know what, maybe Trump didn't win. Maybe the coronavirus is real, and maybe it's not as deadly as people think it is, but it's definitely something that needed the attention that we have been giving it, and sometimes we overgave the attention because we don't want to do the homework. We don't want to do that. We were talking earlier today. Do you remember going down a rabbit hole when you were a kid? And this is what I've been talking about that makes me laugh. Is so in the 80s, when I grew up, 70s, 80s, right? You know, I get to the 90s, I'm in my 20s, so, you know, I'm a little bit older, right? But when I grew up, you wanted to go down a rabbit hole, what'd you have to do, kids? Anybody? Oh, yeah. You had to get in your car or take a bus or have your mom or dad drop you off at a library. You had to go inside the library, and you had to say to the librarian, Miss Librarian, now there's probably Mr. Librarians, I never saw one. Could you help me with this? Go to the Dewey Decimal, you could pull out the little things, look at the cards. Maybe you had to go over there, was it the Fisher paper, right? Like you go look on that screen to try to pull back and forth and see all the things that were happening. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go to the paper here. They said something. That's how we used to go down a rabbit hole. That's how we had to investigate stuff. Now people won't even be asked to go out and look on the internet, where you can open up another tab and say, is this thing true? Is there really this? Did Trump really lose this many lawsuits? Did the Russia thing really happen the way that the Democrats say? I'm curious about some of the said they, oh yeah, but no, they continue to propagate the lie. You can go, is climate change real? Well, you can find 5,000 opposing arguments, but at least you're doing some of the homework rather than looking at me and going, I totally believe that. And that's what we've gotten to. And that's a sad place to be at. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Good news. Super good news in the battle against coronavirus and the battle against, being broke.
Jobless claims dropped again last week to a new pandemic low of 498,000. Weekly filings for benefits peaked at more than 6 million last spring, leveled off at about 700,000, and now fell below that level for 4 straight weeks. Employers are hanging on to workers as the economy rebounds now that more than 40% of American adults are vaccinated. On Friday, economists expect to see the Labor Department report an increase of about 1 million jobs last month.
That's great. We're getting back to normal. Went out last night, hit golf balls. Guess what? Place that I go, nobody was wearing a mask, right? You can wear a mask. And here's my thing. If I'm vaccinated, I've had it and I've been vaccinated. If I don't want to wear a mask and you give me the option inside of a store or somewhere, you shouldn't, stop giving people dirty looks. Because that's what it is. It's a lot of that. Right now, most of the stores I go to, it's about 70-30. We were talking about this earlier. We had a little bit of internet outage here, so I was talking to one of the guys that runs the local stations here, and he said last night, it's about 70-30. 30% of people aren't wearing masks. Like a lot of places now, it used to be mandatory. Now it's optional, but you still have those people that look like they're ready to fight and like ready to say something to you. We're getting there with the spread that we had, with the amount of people that have been vaccinated. We're nearing that. Not so much the herd immunity where it disappears, but where it's becoming so manageable that we might have a flare up here or there, but it is not going to be a situation where, we're not sliding backwards. Outside of a variant that is insane, I see no reason why by next month into July, we're not just at a point where we're like, okay, it's now 50-50 mask-wise. It just feels like we're going to the baseball game. We're going to a movie. We're going to concerts. We're doing those things again. We're there. And jobs, sorry people out there who are hoping maybe this will win a little bit longer. You might have to come back. Oh, no. Might have to work. Oh, man. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Rough Greens. Rough Greens. RUFF Greens.com/Chad. What do you get with Rough Greens? Well, first of all, you get a supplement that goes on top of your dog's food that is D to delicious. They love it. My dogs lick the bowl, especially Doodle, my older dog. His hips were horrific. His fatty tumors that he had in his hips and his arthritis were making it just so he could barely do anything. In the last year and a half, he's been eating rough greens, and his life is transformed. First of all, his coat is beautiful when it really wasn't. And he's kind of an ugly dog. It doesn't fix that, but he does look a lot better, and he's happier and healthier. It's incredible. Omega-3, 6, 9, probiotics, vitamins, minerals, all of these incredible things inside of it. You sprinkle on top of your dog's food. It brings your dog's food to life. Right now, Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. It is simple. It is easy. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. When you do, they're going to ship you a bag. You pay for the shipping. They give you the bag for free. Doesn't get much better than that. That's roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
SpaceX celebrating its own first. The company landing its Starship spacecraft prototype without incident for the first time.
We are down. The Starship has landed.
A stark contrast to its test landing back in March when 8 minutes after touching down, the craft exploded after a fire broke out near the base. Elon Musk hopes to use the rocket ship to one day land astronauts on the moon and send people to Mars.
Yeah! Getting closer, kids. We're on our way. Going to the moon, and then we're hopping from there, go to the place we like to call Mars. I watched it. It was awesome. But I told the guys earlier, I said, you know what it reminds me of? It feels a little like they just ran it in reverse. Like they filmed it and they ran it in reverse. Oh, yeah. It kind of does look like that. It does. It's very cool. I just I think about the times we live, right? And in 100 years, people are going to look at us like we look at Little House on the Prairie in that time. Like, oh, those people are so back-assward. But right now, it's awesome. We live in the best time in human history, the safest time in human history. It has never been better, and tomorrow will be even better because we're making giant leaps, and it is incredible. And I love that. I do. So many people focus on the negative. So many people don't understand how amazing these times are, but they are incredible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. They're called earworms.
When you get a song stuck in your head, it really can affect your mental state and alter your mood. So why do songs get stuck in your head? Experts say the culprits are earworms. 90% of people experience it at least once a week. Recent and repeated exposure to the song comes out on top as a primary reason for earworms.
Yep, earworms. We've talked about them in the past. They can be kind of weird, right? They can be. You get stuck. And it's not just hearing something. I found this to be fascinating, but it's so true.
Visual triggers can also work for some people. You see a kid with a red balloon. 99 red balloons is rattling around your skull. Finally, if your mind wanders because you're carrying out a boring, repetitive task, your brain may try and fill the gap by playing you a funky song. You know what's weird about the earworms and the visual side of things? Not so much the red balloon, because I saw some, like a mom the other day with her kid, and they both had dungarees on, right? Overalls. And I started singing Come On Eileen. And if you go back and look at Dexy's Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen, they're wearing overalls, the lead singer. And it was just I was like, whoa, that's a trip. That is an absolute trip. So, can you even get rid of these? So how can you get rid of an earworm? Find an activity that's so engrossing that the song simply slips out of your head. If that doesn't work, there are two options. Confront it, or you can suppress it. Listen to the tune all the way through, at full volume, preferably singing along. The second option, find a cure song. This needs to be a song that will chase away the earworm, but isn't so catchy that it'll actually just replace it. My go-to
Cure song, which is not The Cure, but, because when he says that, I'm like, the first thing I think of is, show me how you do that trick. The one that, I'm talking about The Cure. Mine is Facts of Life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life, and it always works for me. I'm just letting you guys know that. You can try it, or you can try this.
How to get rid of it? Now, this is weird. Chew gum. For some unknown reason, the same pathways in your brain that are used for programming your repeated jaw movements, so chew, 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 are also used for replaying music in your memory. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. How weird is that? It's a coincidence. What are some of the songs that are very earwormy? Little Richie Valens, La Bamba. What about this famous little catchy tune?
Buddy, you're a young man, hard man, shouting in the street. You're gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face, a big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place. We will rock you.
I find Queen does that a lot for me. A lot of the stuff that Queen does is very ear-catching. It was Freddie's voice, just the tempo, the way they did things, that was awesome. A little something more modern, and also that goes with the earworm. Little Kylie Minogue right there. Kylie Minogue. She starred in a TV show when I was over in England. As a young kid, it was an Australian soap called Neighbours. Her and a guy named Jason Donovan. And they were huge stars. It was an Australian soap. They were massive stars in England. And he became a pop star, and she became a super pop star. And they had that, what looks like that, today, that kind of Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez kind of. It was hilarious. But that song, I like that song. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Even if you're a little angry. I'm okay with that. I got zero problems with that. We were talking earlier about, free speech and the anger that people have. And I always know when people attack me, it's something that's because I've done something, said something that makes them feel uncomfortable. Don't know what it is. Right? I challenged one of their beliefs, and they think their first thing is to lash out. My first thing in life is, the older I get, this is what I know. I know less than I thought I did, and I'm always open to learning more. You start realizing that, you start getting ahead. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Jobless claims dropped again last week to a new pandemic low of 498,000. Weekly filings for benefits peaked at more than 6 million last spring, leveled off at about 700,000, and now fell below that level for 4 straight weeks. Employers are hanging on to workers as the economy rebounds now that more than 40% of American adults are vaccinated. On Friday, economists expect to see the Labor Department report an increase of about 1 million jobs last month.
Yeah! We're getting back to normal, baby. That's what it's all about. Back to normal. Back to our life again. Remember that song? Soul to Soul? It wasn't like that, but we are getting back to normal. And the reason is simple. People are vaccinated. A lot of people have already got it. The people that were really, really at risk, well, guess what, kids? They're vaccinated. We're in a better place than we have been in a long time. How long? 7-month low, continuing to see it fall. that's a winner.
The CDC releasing new projections showing that high vaccination rates, continued masking, and social distancing could bring a sharp decline in COVID cases by July. Still, threats remain like variants and questions about how long vaccines will provide protection.
How long will they provide protection? We're not quite sure. Do I think it's going to be longer than some people think? I do. Are we going to probably have to have a booster? We, at some point in time, will. At the end of the day, though, this is the way this is going to look. It's a race right now to find out who can get that 5-year shot, that 6-year shot, that 10-year shot. That's what they're trying to do. Much like you see with things like the flu, this is endemic, not pandemic. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we'll just have to learn to what? Live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. But jobs are available. It's time for us to get ourselves out there and start working, and to start living in a victory, right? Not fear. A lot of people out there are still living in fear. A lot of people out there are going to use this opportunity to say, I don't want to go back to work. Jobs are available. Jobs are available to the point where we've talked about it all week long. Some places can't give their job away. Can't even give an application away or asking you to come, and they'll pay you $50 just for showing up. That's nuts. But that's where we're at. At this moment in time, things are better. That's a win for everybody. Now, what? On to the usual stuff. It's time to start arguing about things like immigration. Time to start arguing about things like how much money we're spending or overspending. And let's not forget, we're still battling the last election because, the last election. Still kind of there. Yeah, not done. At least not when you consider the fact that they're still counting them out in Arizona. Sad.
Now, let's say there was an influx of China ballots. China does not have the tree and lumber population we have because it got deforested primarily a long time ago. They use bamboo and they do use wood pulps. They use bamboo in their paper, and they use about 27 different mixes of grasses that we don't have here in the United States. And although you can't look at it and see it, it's very detectable.
It's very detectable. That guy is, he's an interesting cat for sure. That's Jovan Pulitzer. I guess he was the guy that came out and said, hey, there's fraudulent ballots because of bamboo.
We're talking about bamboo. What was that about?
Well, is that there's accusations that 40,000 ballots were flown in.
To Arizona?
Into Arizona, and it was stuffed into the box, okay? And it came from the southeast part of the world, Asia, okay? And what they're doing is to find out if there's bamboo in the paper.
So what they're doing is, it's actually rather clever. They've gone and asked the San Diego Zoo, "Can we have a couple of your panda bears?" "We only have 2. We're not asking to keep them. But we know they only eat bamboo. And our whole goal is to get them to come and see if they'll eat any of these ballots. Because if they eat any of these ballots, we will know immediately these are bamboo ballots." Did somebody say bamboo? I like bamboo. That's where we're at. And that battle begins and continues. And now the battle of misinformation, disinformation. Everybody who thinks that this thing was stolen, let me tell you what's going to happen. If they found nothing and they come out, and remember, these are the cyber ninjas, and they come out and they say, hey, look, we thought it was stolen, but we actually looked and we didn't find anything. We found nothing. You know what's going to happen? You know what they're going to say? These aren't the real ballots. People who believe it was stolen will always believe it's stolen. People who believe that Donald Trump didn't win the first race against Hillary Clinton will always believe that. Nothing is going to change people's minds at this moment in time. You know what I find changes people's minds in this era, in this time, in this world that we live in? It's the experience of something. Right? It's the experience of something. If you experience something firsthand, it gives you something to think about, right? It gives you something to go, oh, okay, I get it now, right? I understand it. I didn't before. People told me, but I didn't believe it because I thought to myself, I believe it to be a certain way. And for some people, it's just never going to change, right? That's the way they do it. There's a lot of people out there who are independent-minded enough to go, look, we got a good system. It's not perfect. Nothing is. They're always going to have situations where people are going to be able to cheat in some way, shape, or form. That is never going to change, by the way. That will never, ever, ever change. But cheat to the extent where they stole the election. There's 40,000 magical ballots that flew in. Do you remember all of the stuff that was flying out? This guy over here said 300,000 ballots. This driver for the United States Postal Service, and the FBI goes, eh. You had that lady that was like a Saturday Night Live caricature who said all these things, and eventually, the right holds her up as this hero, and the left holds her up as this lunatic. And what ends up happening? Nothing comes of it. Not that there weren't issues that we could talk about, but we get to the point now where we go to such extremes that actually drilling down and saying to ourselves, we should ask a serious question here about this, about some of the states doing what they did, the way they changed some of the rules arbitrarily without going to and through the legislation. Right? Using it through the legislators and using legislation to do it, arbitrarily doing that. That went against your Constitution. We have every right to ask certain questions about those things. But instead, we all do what? We jump straight to extremes, therefore giving us no opportunity to actually have a conversation. And that's a sad, sad situation. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Trump still not on Facebook.
The major platforms have a responsibility related to the health and safety of all Americans to stop amplifying untrustworthy content, disinformation and misinformation, especially related to COVID-19, vaccinations, and elections.
Actually, they don't. They have zero responsibility. They've given people a platform, the platform on which they can go in. And the responsibility should be of the people. And not just the platform, right? And I'm not talking about people who are advocating for violence. I'm not talking about that. That's we all know that that's wrong. I'm talking about you buy into a meme that somehow Bill Gates has gotten together with the United States of America and managed to put microchips or something inside of the vaccine. If you can't do some research to see if that's true or not, that says more about you than the platforms. Stop saying that you have to defend me. Stop saying that you have to, hey, we have to defend everybody out there because we don't want them to. No, stop it. Allow people to make their own decisions on platforms. Allow people to make their own decisions and do their own homework. Let's get back in the Wayback Machine, right? Let's talk about the difference between going down a rabbit hole and trying to find out the truth of something through rumors and maybe an article you saw, and I say article, many, many moons ago. I don't want to date myself, but I turned 50 last year. And I remember growing up in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, pre-web. If you wanted to find out information, how did you do it? It was called a book. Where were the books of the information that maybe you would have needed? Oh, a library. And they also had all of the newspapers that you may have needed in many of the libraries, because you may only had your local newspaper. We had the Press-Telegram in Long Beach or the Orange County Register, LA Times, New York Times. Those are the ones you needed to get, right? So what do you have to do? To do some of the research. Well, You have to go down to the library. That takes time. And then when you're at the library, what do you have to do? Oh, yeah. You got to go up to the library person and say, hey, library lady. And it was a lady, because I've never seen a library guy. And I'm sure there are some, but I'm just letting you know. They'll say, yeah, we've got some of those books. And you go over to the little Dewey Decimal System, or maybe she says, or hey, they're over here. And you're looking for anything, in particular. Oh, yeah. And then they go over and they pull the thing out. The Dewey, oh, yeah. And then they go over and they look, oh, it should be here. And you got to pull that out and you got to do it. And then you got to scan through it and look. Maybe it's on old newspaper clippings. And where would you do that? You'd have to go get that little Fisher tape, right? And you're sitting in front of that big machine and you're swiping it, trying to look. That was going down a rabbit hole in research. We're not even asking people to do that now, and people are too lazy, and that's why we need protection from big tech to protect us from people who are spreading disinformation. No, all you have to do, if you're curious about finding out something, if that's true, if you've ever been curious in your life and you said to yourself, I think it might be true, but you know what? I'm going to do some research. You know what you do now? Do you get in a car or a bus? You go down to the library? Do you ask the library person, hey, show me all that? No. You know what you do now? You click a tab inside of Google and you do some research by typing in some stuff. It's ridiculous. People can't even do that. Stop protecting the stupid. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Home Title Lock gives you everything you need when it comes to protection for your home's title. That's right, 24/7, 365. They make sure that your title is being watched. Too many thieves out there are taking advantage of high home prices and grabbing equity out of people's homes and stealing it. Don't let that happen to you. Get the protection you need. Get the protection you deserve with Home Title Lock. 24/7, 365. They're there to protect you. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Protect yourself. Use code RADIO. Get 30 days free protection. See if you've been a victim. HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com, code radio, Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Mali's Ministry of Health confirming a woman gave birth to 9 babies, 5 girls and 4 boys. 25-year-old Halima Cease had been expecting 7 children, but did not know another 2 babies were on the way. Cease gave birth in Morocco, where she was flown on March 30th for better care. The whole family is doing well and is expected to return to Mali in the next few weeks.
It's a lot of babies. Like, that's a life changer, right? Like, 2, you're like 1's a life changer. 2, you're like, whoa, we got our hands full. 9? It's a womb, ma'am. It's not a clown car. That is a lot of kids. 9 kids isn't a life changer. It's a generation change. We just changed a generation. That's insane. That is nuts. I couldn't even imagine. Like twins. Like you always said that. If I have kids, what if I had twins? That'd be great. They can play with each other. It's like getting cats. I just don't get one. Might as well get 2. 9? You're not bringing home the whole litter. Hey, I got a great idea. No. 9's too many. I'm telling you guys right now.
Taken away in handcuffs and charged with falsifying medical records and other charges, the owner of the Old Corner Saloon in the California town of Clements, accused of making and selling very real-looking but very fake vaccination cards. Former FBI agent Don Vilfer says selling or trying to use a fake vaccination card is fraud, and this may only be the beginning.
As more establishments start requiring proof of vaccination.
And he says if you try to use that fake card to travel, especially internationally, the penalties could be very stiff.
Is that where we are now? People making fake vaccination cards? It's like the kid in school. It's like, do you want a fake license? Mm-hmm. Fake IDs. Now it's fake vaccination cards. I can't believe it didn't get away with it. If you want to do something like that, you know what you do? You find somebody who works at a place that does vaccinations. Say, dude, here's $500. Give me as many as you can. The problem? What's the problem? People can't keep their mouth shut. That's the problem. People will put it all over the internet. People will screenshot it and do stupid things. Welcome to the world of guilt by stupidity. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's the latest national nightmare. We're in the middle of a pronounced poultry predicament. A chicken shortage, and no one's spared.
Remember the chicken sandwich wars? Turns out it's working. The battle of the birds at McDonald's, Popeyes, KFC, Chick-fil-A, and more, leading to an increase in demand for chicken breasts. And amid all the clucking about sandwiches, chicken wings have quietly become a pandemic takeout staple, helping to boost wholesale wing prices 100% year on year, according to the USDA.
What? Yeah. A lot of stuff is far more expensive. Lumber. Why? Because we're building tons of houses. You have a lot of lumber. Chickens now, through the roof. We're paying what? Paying a lot more. Double the price for chicken? Haven't you noticed a lot of things are a little bit more expensive? Higher gas prices, one of the reasons. Not just for chicken, but for everything. Shortage in labor. For some of these things. Why are gas prices? Because we don't export anymore? Because we don't produce? No, we're still producing a ton. Here's the problem. We don't have people to get gas from point A to point B. We have a shortage of drivers. Because last year, a lot of owner-operators switched or went out of business when we weren't driving. There was a glutton of drivers, but nobody needed the amount of gas. Now that we're getting back out there, there isn't. Then that's part of the labor thing. Everything plays into itself, and it's going to take a while for us to get our feet, if you will, our sea legs. But we have a chicken problem.
Its CEO telling us wing popularity remains substantial, but there's both a labor and chicken production crunch.
The pandemic has caused challenges to be able to staff plants, to be able to slaughter enough chickens to be able to meet the demands of the marketplace.
Couple that with a labor shortage hitting nearly every industry across the country and a once-in-a-lifetime storm in Texas hitting major chicken-producing regions and coming right after the biggest event of the year for wings, Super Bowl.
It's super chicken. Yeah. We have issues, kids. I'm just letting you guys know. I just want you guys to be prepared. If you go and you want a chicken breast or you want to do something like just understand why it's so expensive. Understand what's happening there that makes it so expensive. Understand. There's a reason for it. We don't have enough chickens. And we don't have the labor for it. I remember when this thing first started. I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you remember there's several places where the outbreaks inside the chicken factories killed a lot of people? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Was it Tyson and a few other places where it just ran rampant? So there's a lot. We will get our sea legs back, and we will get our chicken because we deserve chicken. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program.
Florida's GOP leadership has called the state's handling of the 2020 presidential election a model for other states to follow. Secure, efficient, and with no claims of fraud. Now the legislature has passed, and Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has signed an overhaul of Florida election law. It now prohibits the mass mailing of ballots and makes ballot drop boxes available only when early voting sites are open. Democrats say it's a partisan attempt to discourage minority voting. Within minutes of being signed by DeSantis, the new state law was the subject of lawsuits meant to keep it from taking effect.
Of course it is. You know, it's funny. It depends on where you look. Is it voter security or voter? Right? Like, oh, is this voter security? Are we looking at voter security here? Or is this voter restriction? Well, that's interesting. I don't know. Are you pro-life or pro-choice, right? Are you for gun control or are you for gun rights? It's just about how you phrase it. Do I think some of these things are a little much? I think some of the states have overdone it. And I also think there's a lot of people out there who go and look and find out that, they're out there complaining about, I can't believe this state did this. And then you look and you find out the state that they're in, guess what? They got issues too. And their states have been doing some of the things that other states are now just saying, no, we're not going to do that anymore. I think we should make it easy to vote. I got a plan. It's pretty simple. Thumbprint. What if you don't have thumbs? Well, then we'll take your eye out. I mean, let's stop it. Oh yeah, see what I'm saying here? So you see, guys, Chad is trying to restrict the rights of the no fingerprinted. What's wrong with the fingerprint? They do it in other countries. Couldn't we just? Remember, it doesn't have to go to the feds because you're doing it in the states. In a lot of places, you're already giving your fingerprint for your license. Why not? Couldn't we come up with something? Therefore, we don't have to worry about matching signatures. Therefore, we don't have to. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Enough of the crap, right? Well, we need an ID. People can't get IDs. Why can't you get an ID? Why? Tell me why. Tell me why you can't get an ID. Tell me. Removing some of the drop boxes, making it easier? No, I'm not a fan of. Having the drop boxes for certain periods of time, I'm okay with that. There's just a lot. I mean, we can't have honest conversations because it's no longer allowed. It isn't. It's no longer allowed to have a conversation with somebody because it devolves into screaming and yelling and somebody saying you're racist or you're homophobic or you're whatever that they want to say, and that is just the dumbest thing in the world. And we're not even, people say there's a happy medium. It's not even about a happy medium. Because in many cases, outside of the far extremes, the majority of people agree on a lot of the stuff. It's a few things, and we're never going to be perfect. It just isn't going to happen. And by the way, I don't want to live in a world where we all think the same. I don't know about you, but that just sounds awful. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Caitlyn Jenner spoke. Upset with California. Wants to be the governor of California. Taking it serious. This isn't just a publicity stunt. I think Caitlyn Jenner, going back a very long way when Caitlyn didn't exist, if you will, wanted to be more involved in politics. And, yes, I know, trans. I don't even look, you've decided that you want to be a woman, so I'm not going to call you trans. I'm just going to call you a woman. That's what it be. Caitlyn Jenner wants to be governor.
Somebody's got to stand up. We can fight. I'm not going up Omaha Beach. I'm going up in Sacramento. But we have to change things. I love this country. I'm a patriot. I love this state. The state's done so much for me over the years, but I've watched it crumble right in front of my eyes. And you got to stand up. I knew it would not be easy. I knew it'd be tough. But you know what? California's worth fighting for. And that's what I'm doing.
And why I find this interesting is California is a one-party state. A majority of states are one-party states. And I find this interesting because we need a two-party system. And right now there's a battle within the Republican Party that's going on. We talked about earlier with Liz Cheney and the battle that's going on. McCarthy wants to get rid of it. But I heard what Biden said yesterday, and I agree 110% with what he said about the parties.
It seems as though the Republican Party is trying to identify what it stands for. I've been a Democrat for a long time. We've gone through periods where we've had internal fights and disagreements. I don't ever remember any like this. We badly need a Republican Party. We need a two-party system. It's not healthy to have a one-party system. I think the Republicans are further away from trying to figure out who they are and what they stand for than I thought they would be at this point.
And I find that interesting because you said it. We need a two-party system. You guys recognize that, right? Even if you're super conservative, liberal, you need pushback. You do. And why some states get out of control is because there is a one-party system. Hell, California. Like, even if Caitlyn Jenner was to win, here's the reality of it. Still a one party. They have a supermajority, the Democrats. They can overrun her. I mean, even if she vetoes something, it doesn't matter. Hell, they do it to Gavin Newsom. Having some balance isn't about not getting stuff done. It's about keeping things in check. Making sure that there isn't an overrun. Making sure that there isn't a situation where the one party decides we're going to do everything we want, when we want, how we want, and where we want, and you can't stop us. And that's not good. Right now, the battle with Liz Cheney, I look at this and I find this entire thing insane. I do. You don't like her. You're disagreeing with her. She's destroying everything. Now, she came out today and she's got an op-ed in the Washington Post, and I find it to be refreshing. I don't have to agree with her, because some of the stuff I agree with her and some of the stuff I don't. But I tell you what, she's got the cojones to stand up and say, yeah, I'm not buying this.
Republican Liz Cheney, writing in the Washington Post that her party must decide if it will choose truth and fidelity to the Constitution over supporting former President Trump's false claims of election fraud. Congresswoman Cheney also going after House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy for what she says is his flip-flopping on the insurrection. McCarthy at first said Mr. Trump bears responsibility for the mob violence, but now Liz Cheney says McCarthy has changed the story.
Of course, because they're more interested in power than anything else. They're more interested in holding on to what they have, not allowing other people to seize it from them as they see it, because they don't see it as they're the voice of you. What they see is we work for them. And it's not good. It isn't. And it's frustrating. The whole thing can be frustrating. We live in a world of alternative facts, and truth doesn't really matter, or the truth that matters is the truth that I see as the truth, and there is no pushback, because if any pushback comes, then you know what? You're evil and bad, and vice versa, for depending on the side. It's just, it's not healthy. Hell, I'd like to see a strong third party. And again, strong third party does not have to be a third. It can be a 10th. Think about this. Let's say there was an independent party, right? And they had 4 seats in the Senate. That's it, 4 seats. And they had 15 seats in the House. You know what that does? Keeps them in check. Doesn't allow one party to overrun the other party. And it's not about balancing. It's about keeping people who would love to run this stuff into check. Hell, inside their own parties, they battle. Ilhan Omar and the squad led by AOC battles with Nancy Pelosi and the old-timers and the people who are just there to get stuff done on the Democratic side. And now they're coming after Liz Cheney because they don't like the fact that she had her own mind when it came to Trump and had some serious issues. But the fear of what may come out of it, rather than saying, you know what, she's on our team. She agrees with a lot of what we do. We disagree on this, but instead it's about, well, she's leading us down a path of evil. We'll see. 2 parties. It's okay. 3 parties? Smidge better. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. MyPillow. MyPillow. They got everything, kids. They got everything. You want a mattress topper? They got it. You want the best towels around? They got those. Non-lotiony feel. Huge discount. Normally like $109 and like 98 cents. Now I think they're under $45. I think they're $44.98. 6 towels. It's incredible. Matching set. It's awesome. No lotiony feel. Super absorbent. And they've got those amazing My Slippers. Not also discounted the fact they got the MyPillow. So you go to MyPillow.com. Save huge. Save massive. Deep discounts. 60-day money-back guarantee. Try the slippers. Try the mattress topper. Try the towels. Huge discounts right now on all of those. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code is Benson. Save big now. Chad Benson Show.
be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're running my life, man!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Still searching and searching for the Jeopardy host that will replace Alex Trebek. I think you're at the point now where you could say you're not the guy replacing the guy, right? You never want to be that person. The guy replacing the guy. Unless the guy went out in super scandal. Then it's okay now, which seems to be the thing. But somebody retiring who's had a storied career and has been somewhere for a long time, the guy replacing the guy is always going to struggle. It's usually you want to be the guy after that guy, or the gal after that gal, whatever it is. Or the gal after the guy, or the guy after the gal. Doesn't really matter. You want to be that. Right now, ratings are in for the first several. On your mark, get set, go. Who's number one? Well, let's first of all, who struggled? Anderson Kubert? Not so much. He struggled. 5.1 rating, lowest rated debut week of the first 6 guest hosts. Just above him, Dr. Oz. Did 2 weeks, just a smidge better. TV Katie Couric came in 4th. 3rd, Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. At least for now, Green Bay Packer. I don't think that's going to be there. His first week, 5.6. Second week, 5.5. Second was Mike Richards. Now, he was the executive producer. He was the guy who somebody got sick and couldn't make it. And he had done some game shows, I think, in the early 2000s. Good-looking dude, but he's the executive producer. He's a behind-the-scenes guy. They needed him to jump in. He did it, and people were like, this guy's on point. Number one is number one. Ken Jennings. Averaged 6+ over the 6 weeks of hosting the show. And right now, I would say he is still on point. Who's coming up? You got Bill Whitaker this week. You got Buzzy Cohen, former Jeopardy champ. Blossom, Mayim Bialik. I like how they put her down. She's an actress and a neuroscientist. Wouldn't you rather be a neuroscientist first, then an actress? You got Savannah Guthrie, Dr. Gupta, Stephanopoulos. Stephanopoulos may be interesting. Out of all the ones I see, LeVar Burton may be interesting. Robin Roberts, I think, would be good. But out of everybody I see here, I think Stephanopoulos would love it. I do. LeVar Burton seems to be. They push for him to get the opportunity. I think he'd be good. Joe Buck, he's going to be the last of them, but I still think at this point, leader in the clubhouse, Ken Jennings. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Check out all of our social media stuff. We got it everywhere. Who doesn't have it, right? A lot of people. Really? No. Everybody has some sort of social media. Everybody does at this point in time. Even if they don't use it, somewhere out there, you've signed up for something. It could have been Pinterest. We don't have Pinterest, by the way. Just letting you go. Have a blessed rest of your day. Is that? Oh, it is. I see Friday. Night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.